In this quick tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to create this swirly gradient in Illustrator. So I will first start with a color palette. So I have this cream color here, so that's going to be the base. So usually for the base, I would want something that's very light, very close to white. I'm going to duplicate this swatch by holding Alt and then just drag it down. Now I'm going to choose my main color. I'm just going to stick with the blue-green color palette and maybe a little bit of purple. So firstly, I'm just going to choose this blue color and maybe something that's not too dark, maybe something like that. And I'm going to duplicate this swatch again by holding Alt and drag it to the right. And then I'm just going to double click on that color there. And then now I'm going to choose a lighter color. Maybe I'll choose an aqua color. So somewhere there, and even just make it a bit lighter. And I'm gonna duplicate this again by holding Alt and then drag it to the left. I'm gonna double click on this color fill again. And this time I'm gonna choose a green color. So I don't wanna go too far from the blue. So just kind of that blue-green color. So maybe slightly darker, but not too vibrant. So in the middle between the gray and the vibrant. So just around there. Yeah, maybe I'll just choose that. Just FYI, this color should be just a guide. So you can change the shade as you go. And then the last one, I'm going to drag it to the bottom here because this one is going to be slightly different. And I'm going to choose a purple color. So this one is going to be like kind of like the pop color out of this color palette. I don't want it to go too far from the blue so that it still feels like a one nice color palette. So I'm probably just going to choose that. Once you have your color palette, or if you're happy with the color palette, so the first thing you want to do is to create a shape. So I want you to go to this rectangle tool. And then go to the corner of your artboard here until it says intersect. And then just double click on your screen. And then make sure your width is 1080 by 1080 because that's how big my artboard is. And I'm gonna hit OK. So that is placed exactly where the artboard is. If you want to check how big your artboard is, you can go to artboard or go to window and then look for artboard. And then just double click on this icon here. And then it'll say the width and the height of your artboard and you can change it there. Before we continue, have you ever wanted to save time on motion graphics? Motion Duck extension has thousands of animated templates that you can add to your animation. You can download a bundle pack, buy a new video pack, or subscribe if you don't want to spend too much in one go. They also have a free pack if you want to test them out first. It's so easy to use. The cool thing is you can customize them all. Check out the link in the description below to download. Now, back to the tutorial. After that, I want you to go over this gradient tool. And then if you hold on to your gradient tool, it'll show up another option, which is mesh tool. And that's exactly what you want to use for this one. Now, if you click on mesh tool anywhere in your shape, it'll create some sort of like a grid. And each of the vertex here, you can change the color. So before I do that, actually, I'm gonna just hit V and then select this shape, and I'm gonna hit I for the eyedropper tool and then select this color just because I want this cream color to be the base of my gradient. Now I'm gonna go back to the mesh tool again and I'm just gonna create some grid. So you can create it however you want it. Like different grid will create different look of gradient, but that's something that you need to figure out yourself once you're used to using this. Just gonna leave it as that. And then what you want to do is you want to select this tool or hit A on your keyboard. That's just so that you can select the vertex. So once you hit A or select this tool, you can just drag onto the vertex that you want to change the color to. So for example, I want to change this one and then just hit I for the eyedropper tool and then select your color. So I'll choose this one. You can also hit A and then just select the vertex one by one, for example, like that. Or you can select the vertex with the selection tool and then hold shift to select other vertex. So for example, I want to select 3 of those and then I change the color to this. So now I'm just gonna add colors to these vertices. See how that looks. Now I kind of want to leave some of the vertices on the edge as cream. So I'm just gonna leave those as is and probably just select this corner here and then select the purple color. Now, once you're happy with your color, you can always change the color later. Now you can play around with these vertices. So if you select your selection tool or hit A and select on the vertex, And then if you move these vertex, it'll create that swirly kind of texture on the gradient. So this is where the fun begins. You can just play around with it until you get the result that you like. So as you can see, if you select a vertex and then move it towards another vertex, it'll create this like sharp line, which can be cool for like the visual look of the gradient itself. And you can also adjust the handle there. So if you just adjust it like that, and then once you're done, you can also still add another point. So if you go back to your mesh tool and then just click on one of the lines, then it'll create a new line which you can edit the color. Also, just a tip, if you're on your mesh tool and then if you say want to add another line here, you have to click on the existing line, because if not, it'll create a new double line like that, and you don't really want that. Unless that's the look that you're going for, that's another story. And I think I'm gonna create another line here, so I'm going to click on that line. Actually, I'm gonna select this top vertex and then select this base color. And probably I'll change that to purple. And I'm gonna select these two vertex at the top and change it to light blue. And yeah, once you're happy with it, you can go to File and then Export, and then export for screens. And then you can select which gradient you wanna export. So for my one, I'm gonna select this one. And then you can select the location of the export. So for this one, I would probably go to here and then select folder. And then you can't really name this because the name is artboard 1, which is under the artboards here. So if you wanna name your artboard, you have to change it inside of the Illustrator here, but it doesn't really matter for me. And then you can also create a subfolder, but for me, I don't want to create a subfolder. And you can change the format here. For me, it's PNG. You can change it to JPEG or PDF or SFJ. I'm going to change it to JPEG 100 and then export artboard. So once that's done, it pops up in my folder here. I just have to look for it. There you go. So that's how you create gradient in Illustrator. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial, and I'll see you next time.